Harem anime with an overpowered main character has been growing in popularity in the past years. Generally, the harem genre has been enjoying peak popularity for some years now. Each year, we get tons of new harem anime with overpowered main characters to choose from. Usually, the story starts off with the main character dying or then maybe reincarnating into a fantasy world, or he simply gets transported to a fantasy world out of nowhere. There, the main character usually either becomes overpowered or is overpowered from the start. These stories are usually relaxing and light-hearted with some stress-free action where the main character showcases his overpowered attacks and conquers all the assailants with no problem. If you ever find yourself in the never-ending list of harem anime, here is a list of top 10 best harem anime with an OP MC. On the 10th number, the anime name is The Greatest Demon Lord is Reborn as a Typical Nobody. Having reached the pinnacle of human potential, Varvatos was so powerful that the rest of the humankind began calling him the Demon Lord, both fearing and respecting his overwhelming influence, leading him to desire true companionship, an equal he could call a friend. Hoping his faith will change in his next life, Varvatos decides to start anew and reincarnates 3000 years later in the Ars Meteor, the son of seemingly ordinary couple in a rural town. He realizes that even after weakening himself, his strength still overshadows everyone in this era. Moreover, his lack of social skills bars him from achieving his goals of making friends. But worst of all, the repercussions of suddenly abandoning his former position have begun to bite him back in some of the most unimaginable ways possible. On the 9th number, the anime name is The Fruit of Evolution. One day, a man claiming to be God suddenly hacks a certain school's intercoms, ordering all of its students to team up and prepare to be transported to another world. There, they will be given special skills in hopes that they become the world's heroes and defeat the demon king that ravaged the land. The initial transfer is a success. However, Seiichi Hiragi, who suffers from his classmates' constant bullying due to his somewhat undesirable appearance, is left behind because no one is willing to be his teammate. Nevertheless, the self-proclaimed god decides to send Seiichi to the parallel world and lets him join his peers. Unfortunately, this faithful ordeal causes Seiichi to arrive at a location deep in the forest, far not only from his schoolmates but from human civilization as well. Desperately searching for a way to change his predicament, Seiichi's miserable days only seems to continue to worsen. Yet when all hope seems to lost, Seiichi discovers a strange fruit known as the Fruit of Evolution, which may be his first step towards a significantly better future. On the next number, the anime name is The Strongest Sage with the Weakest Crest. At birth, mages randomly acquire one of the 4 crests that represents the extent of their magical capabilities. Equipped with a crest specializing in creation, a man named as Gaius reaches the ceiling of his potential, becoming known as the world's strongest sage. Despite his overwhelming power, he is unsatisfied with his abilities and desires to possess the marks suitable for close combat. Knowing that the person's crest is unchangeable, Gaius decides to reincarnate far into the future, hoping to alter his fate. Thousands of years later, Gaius is reborn as Matthias, successfully obtaining his long-awaited crest. However, he is surprised to learn that in these times, magic has vastly waned, and the techniques that were once widely used are now nothing more than just a speck of legends. Moreover, the crest that he painstakingly strives to attain is now considered the weakest, merely dubbed as the crest of failure. Nevertheless, Matthias naturally exceeds all expectations. He enrolls into the royal capital's second academy, acing every trial that comes in his way. But soon after, Matthias discovers the dark truth behind humanity's downfall into magical mediocrity, which are demons, and endeavors to remedy the consequences of his millennia-long absence once and for all. On the 7th number, the anime name is Tsukimichi Moonlit Fantasy. As part of a mysterious contract agreed upon by the goddess and his parents years ago, Makoto Misumi finds herself to send to another world to meet the goddess and become the hero. However, the deity deems Makoto to be hideous, refusing to ever lay eyes upon him and revoke his heroic title, disdainfully giving him the ability to understand all languages except the human language as compensation. The goddess drives Makoto off to the farthest edge of the Westland, far from the human civilization. Due to the disparity between Earth and this new world, Makoto's inherent physical and magical capabilities awakens, making him extremely powerful. He meets various demi-humans and mythical beings who all end up being captivated with his characteristics, and joins Makoto in building a new community where all of them can preferably coexist. Nevertheless, despite this success, Makoto still wants to meet fellow humans, in a world where the goddess herself has barred him from interacting with his own kind. It is up to Makoto and his companions to fulfill his desire, and perhaps reform society along the way. On the 6th number, the anime name is The World's Finest Assassin Gets Reincarnated in Another World as an Aristocrat. The world's greatest assassin has sworn lifelong allegiances to the organization that has raised him. However, despite his loyalty, that very same organization takes action to silence him, ultimately leading to his demise. Drowning in frustration and regrets he can no longer suppress, he finds himself in an audience with a goddess attracted by his exceptional skills. The goddess offers him reincarnation into a magical world of swords and magic, so he can perform a crucial mission: prevent the world from destruction by slaying its hero. Accepting the goddess's request, he is reborn as Luke Tuan-Day, the son of a noble family of assassins serving the Alwan kingdom. Luke learns new assassination techniques that significantly differs from cold-blooded and unsympathetic killing style of his previous life. Furthermore, his other talents boom, allowing him to meet new allies and acquaintances. Even so, Luke knows that his efforts are far from adequate, because a monumental adversary such as a hero can only be defeated with perfection. On the 5th number, the anime name is In Another World with My Smartphone. In a thoughtless blunder, God accidentally strikes down Toya Mochizuki with a stray bolt of lightning. As an apology, God offers him one wish and chance to live again in a magical fantasy world. Toya happily accepts his offer and for his one wish asks only to keep his smartphone with him as he begins his journey into a mysterious world. Starting over in this new world, Toya finds it is filled with magic, which he has affinity for, and cute girls vying for his attention. These girls are the twins Lindsay and Elze, Yumina, Lin and Yae, who provide Toya with no end of romantic frustration, but also companionship as he discovers the secrets of this new world. On the 4th number, the anime name is How a Realist Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom. After the death of his grandfather, 19-year-old Kazuya Soma, an aspiring civil servant, is left all alone with no one to call family. Out of the blue, he is transported to an Elfindren kingdom, in small ailing country in another world, to be a hero. An ongoing war with the demon army has put the entire world in peril, and Kazuya was summoned to aid in the conflict. Dissatisfied with being used as tribute, Kazuya decides to help the kingdom revamp its declining economy, not by the way of adventuring or war, but through administrative reform. Abruptly declared as a king and betrothed to a princess, the realist hero Kazuya sets out to assemble a group of talented citizens who will assist him in his bureaucratic battles to get the kingdom back on its feet. On the 3rd number, the anime name is Maken Ki. Based on the manga series of Hiromitsu Takeda, this romantic comedy is about Takeru Oyama, a typical perverted teenage boy. His new school doesn't require entrance exams, and it just turns co-ed. Unfortunately, his dreams of a happy high school life are dashed when he finds out the school is much more than it seems. All of the students wields a special item, a Maken, to unleash their magical abilities in duels. Can Takeru find a Maken that works for him, even while trying to fit in this new school and dealing with all of the girls' problems? All in all, however, the show is fun to watch, and although not a masterpiece. Of course, it was never meant to be one, and although the tone has seemed negative, it is really enjoyable to watch and is one to be recommended to anyone waiting to just watch something casual and funny. On the 2nd number, the anime name is Seiretsuki no Blade Dance. On his way to Areishia Spirit Academy, Kamito Kazehaya runs into a naked Claire Ruff, a student who has been bathing as a part of the purification ceremony. She has been preparing to form a contract with a powerful spirit in order to acquire more power as an elementalist. Her efforts are wasted, however, when Kamito ends up with the spirit despite the fact that only shrine maidens can become elementalist. Claire then announces that Kamito must become her contracted spirit instead. After reaching the school grounds, Kamito escapes from Claire and meets Headmaster Greyworth's seal mates, who invites him to enroll at the academy. Although his life at Arasia will be far from easy, he accepts everything in exchange for information about his former contracted spirit, Restia Ashdol. Adding on to that, he also must fulfill Greyworth's main request, to win in Blade Dance, a battle festival occurring in 2 months, where he will face the strongest elementalist rumored to be contracted with a darkness spirit. And finally, on the first number, the anime name is The Misfit of the Demon King Academy. In the distant past, a war between humans and demons brought about widespread chaos and bloodshed. To put an end to this seemingly endless conflict, Demon King Anos Voldigod willingly sacrifices his life, hoping to be reborn in a peaceful future. In a preparation for their king's return, the demon race creates the Demon King Academy, an elite institution tasked with determining Anos' identity when he reawakens. He reincarnates 2 millennia later, but to his surprise, he soon learns that the level of magic in this world has drastically waned due to his absence. Moreover, when he enrolls at the academy to reclaim his rightful title, he finds out that Demon King remembers him differently. His personality, his deeds, and even his legacy are all falsified, masked beneath the name of an impostor. This lack of common knowledge renders him the academy's outlier, a misfit never before seen in history. Despite these drawbacks, Anos remains unfazed as he sets out to uncover those altering his glorious past, and he takes it upon himself to make descendants recognize that their ruler has finally returned. With that being said, we have come to the end of the video, but if you have already watched all of the harem anime that are mentioned in this list, then check out my other list of harem anime by clicking over here. And if you enjoyed this video, please like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more anime related content from my YouTube channel. And that's it for today's video guys, and I will see you in the next one. Sayonara.